My heart is broken. I heard the statistic last year that I legitimately could not believe was true. Over 70% of people don't have a single person that they could call in the middle of a crisis. Is this you? Because, oh my God, if so, I am so sorry. And I'm here to say that this story will be rewritten. You might be thinking, well, how the heck would you know? You don't even know me. Well, this was me. And now I'm here to walk with you. Plain and simple, I'm on a mission to eliminate this statistic and make it 0%. And I really hope you'll join me. We are the most socially connected generation of all time. Yet, we are also the loneliest. As Dr. John Deloney says, isolation used to be a form of torture for prisoners. Now, we quite literally choose this type of torture for ourselves, on our own. Here's the deal. We are broke. We are relationally broke. Not broken, but straight up broke. And it's time to start investing so we can build relational wealth. I define relational wealth as the embodiment of all of your relationships with yourself, with others, and with experiences that enrich your life. People who are relationally wealthy or relationally rich carry themselves differently. They experience and consistently live in freedom. They experience contentment, the freedom to be vulnerable and share and ask and receive, the freedom to give the gift of their time, their resources, and light up at the opportunity to come alongside others. They also walk in confidence, knowing that they are deeply rooted. And if you're on the other side of that statistic, you're in the 30% who knows immediately who you would call in a time of crisis, I know why. It isn't luck. And there's still so much more for us. Your relationships in your life with others is the tip of a huge iceberg. And in this podcast, we're going to zero in on everything underneath of it. Everything underneath the tip of that iceberg. All the investments that come before that. We are starting with you in your relationships with so many other things. For instance, in order to build relational wealth, we need to focus on your relationship with your health, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. It all starts here because from this is the overflow of how you show up for anything and everyone else. Your relationship with managers at work, your relationship with your body image, your confidence, your addictions, your passions. This doesn't even scratch the surface of topics we're going to be covering through the life of this podcast. And I'm so excited for this journey. Because can you imagine what would happen if we all learn together how to go from broke to rich in relationships in our lives and actually achieve relational wealth? What could be on the other side of it? I mentioned that this was me. I was in that 70% statistic, and I need to share with you why I'm so passionate about this. Because when I was 20 years old, I had an explosive bestie breakup. And you may or may not understand this, but when you break up with a best friend, there's shrapnel that goes everywhere because everybody knows about it. And people have to take sides and take teams, which causes even more problems because it feels like the world hates you. Now, that may be a little dramatic, but if you've experienced this like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was so explosive that I don't even really know how to describe it, except I'll say this. I had put all my relational investments into one singular person. that blew up in my face. And because of that, I had to now confront a new reality. I had no true friends. And I obviously wanted to change that. And to change it, I needed to do something drastic so that I didn't ever find myself in this position again. So I came up with this crazy New Year's resolution and ridiculous goal to eat a meal with someone different every single day on my college campus, get to know them, get to know their story, in hopes that on the other side of it, I'd have friends. Now, this can sound pretty ridiculous, and you are correct. Ridiculous it was. You want to know how terrible I was at this in the beginning? The first person that I asked to get a meal with me, to grab lunch, I didn't really know much about, hence why I was trying to get to know them, right? But I was so nervous that there would be silence and dead air where we would just be staring at each other, just looking at our plates, eating our food, that I legitimately wrote note cards with Q questions on them. And they were dumb questions too. Like nothing that's actually revolutionary. It was like, what's your favorite subject in college and why? Like, girl, what were you thinking? It was a minor disaster, but thankfully I didn't give up. Because the more I focused on wanting to know other people, something crazy happened. People then wanted to focus on getting to know me. And I never expected that to be the case. I just knew I needed to get out of whatever it was that I was in. Now, here's the actual wildest part of all of this. This became such an unbelievable experience for me that I continued this daily tradition. And for the next 2.5 years, until I graduated college, I had totaled over 250 meal dates with over 250 different people on my college campus. And it was one of the most transformative experiences of my entire life. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose. And you may have even heard that, and you're thinking to yourself, I could never do that. I didn't think I could either. And I want this podcast to be the whisper and the voice in your ear, giving you the confidence and the belief of knowing, even if you don't believe it for yourself yet, that you are worth being loved and having incredible relationships. And also, if nobody's ever told you, let me have the honor of being the first, you are capable of being an amazing friend. You are capable of being an amazing, insert whatever relationship title you're looking for. And you may not believe it yet, but you are capable of it. And this podcast is going to give you the tools to help you build relational wealth in these areas so that you can show up with confidence, being the type of person that you may never have thought was possible. Is it going to take work? Absolutely. And let me actually pause right here because I need to warn you. This is an investment. And like all financial advisors say, with investments, inevitably also come risks. You could invest your time, your heart, feel dumb, fall flat, be in a worse spot than you were before. All of this could happen. Here's what else can happen. You can invest your time, your heart, fall flat, get up again, feel dumb sometimes, then feel great. Take a step back, but then 7 steps forward and gain deep, meaningful relationships and connections that you have been longing for, which is ultimately what relational wealth is all about. That potential is there for you too. There was a recent TED Talk that revealed new findings of what the single biggest indicator of longevity in your lifespan actually is. And you're probably thinking, oh, health, fitness, what you eat, and all of those are big indicators and definitely do extend your life, and they're very important. But the biggest indicator of them all was, guess what? The depth of your relationships, the meaningful relationships that gave you life. You may have heard the term life-giving relationships. Well, hello, that's a real thing now. Relationships that are strong and meaningful give actual life to people. That's what the study revealed. And you have a ton of relationships in your life with family members, with friends, with coworkers, with yourself, and relationships to non-tangible things as well. Your relationships are paramount. We are created for connection. And in this podcast, I'm going to walk with you so that together we can unlock and build a new type of wealth and become a different type of rich. And that's in our relationships. I also want to explain real quickly why this podcast is called Accidentally Intentional, which is obviously an oxymoron in itself. It's called this because when I was 20 years old, I found myself in the situation of having no friends. That was an accident. I didn't realize there were steps I could have and should have taken to prevent that because I only focused on spending all my time with one person. And to prevent that from ever happening again moving forward was to be intentional. You can't fall out of being relationally broke just by coincidence. So we are about to invest. Intentional relational investments with full belief, knowing that one day you will have a portfolio that is relationally rich. The connection you've been looking for is on the way. It is time to eliminate this 70% statistic forever. Let's go. Oh, and as a teaser, in the next episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the Relational Wealth Starter Kit and the most important keys to creating and building amazing relationships. So be sure to subscribe so you get that automatically. And hey, know that I believe in you and we're in this together. And I cannot wait to build relational wealth. We'll see you next time.